At MyGuru, we have a relatively unique perspective on what it is that drives academic performance. We don't believe that hard work is the answer, and we don't believe that your natural intelligence is the answer either. In effect, we believe that practice is incredibly underrated, and that how smart you are is something that you determine over time. And further, there's a relatively simple formula for success that we believe, if followed, will get you to where you want to go. But of course, it's not easy to execute. But understanding the component parts is incredibly important. So that formula starts with establishing goals. You've probably heard before that if you don't know where you're going, it's probably going to be difficult to get there. And so that's the idea with making sure you establish goals up front, whether it's to get an A in the class or to get a 30 on the ACT. You need to be shooting for something. After that, it's incredibly important to adopt what we call a growth mindset. And so if you explore our website, you'll find that there's a lot of science behind this concept, but essentially there are two different mindsets that people tend to adopt. Either they adopt the fixed or the growth mindset. In the fixed mindset, they believe that their personality and their intelligence is more or less fixed, and it's something that they have to deal with throughout their life. And with the growth mindset, they believe that they can learn and improve continuously based on practice and feedback. And so obviously we want you to adopt the growth mindset. After that, it's very important to prepare to learn effectively. So many tutoring companies or test prep companies focus very heavily on the content of the mathematics that you're studying or of the ACT. And we do believe it's important to start with just how you manage your time, whether you're organized, and build those foundational behaviors and skills that allow you to then address any given class or any given standardized test and work through a study plan that you might develop. So after that, you need to practice deliberately in whatever subject or standardized test you're attacking. And deliberate practice is something very unique and very powerful, and it's much more than hard work. And what it involves is fully engaging with material, breaking it down into its component parts, getting immediate feedback from experts, and really just building slowly the skills necessary to become an expert at something. And there's a lot of science that shows that with the right type of practice where you are fully engaged and you are getting immediate feedback, almost anyone can become incredibly good at almost anything, including things like mathematics or music or even being humorous or funny, things that seem to be natural and inborn, but really you can practice. And finally, you need to perform confidently. So if you've done the other parts of the process, you've got the right mindset, you're prepared to learn, you've been practicing deliberately, you should have the confidence to be calm and collected on test day, to do your best. And then what happens after that is you get the results that you were looking for. So what does that lead us to? Well, we'd like to summarize by saying that people often assume that natural talent drives the type of performance that they see from people that are considered great. But that's just not right. It's the deliberate focused practice referenced on the previous slide that you don't really get to see that creates the excellent performance and that makes people great. So it's what we call the illusion of effortlessness. And here's a quote. It's about Chris Rock, the comedian. And by the time that Chris Rock performs on something like the David Letterman show, he has literally hundreds of times gone to smaller comedy clubs and practiced his material. And the first few dozen times that he does this, almost nobody laughs. And it's awkward because Chris Rock is famous and supposedly extremely funny. And it's painful. But in each one of those performances, some of the jokes work all right, and he understands, why one works and why one doesn't, and he adjusts the joke for the next time. He drops the jokes that just aren't funny, and then a year later, when he's ready to perform on David Letterman, it looks so fluid. It looks like he's not even trying, and you say things like, "Chris Rock is such a funny guy." obviously being funny is just something that he has. It's innate to him. But that's not the case. You'd be wrong. He's practiced incredibly hard and in a very specific, deliberate way. So there's 6 ideas that you could take away that should, just by believing these ideas and trying to implement them, can help you start to become more successful in school and in other things that you do. So number 1, you want to set aspirational goals. You want to shoot for things, but don't just focus on the goal. After you set it, focus on the process of getting there. Have the right mindset, as we discussed. Prepare to learn, better time management, organization, or simply making sure that you're going to class. Highly customized study plans is something that's very important. Each one of us is better or worse at various things, and so as you're preparing for a big test, preparing for the ACT or the GMAT or the LSAT, you want to make sure that you're spending the right amount of times in the areas that don't come as naturally to you. And then, of course, you need to practice deliberately and frequently. And after you've done all those things, you should know that you're prepared, and that should really help you be calm and confident when it's time to perform.